I've never wanted my anxiety, lack of resources, or perfectionism to stop me from where I needed to go. And a lot of the time, I think we can look at situations and it's easy to try to blame other people. It's easy to blame circumstances or what happened in the past or parents, friends, family members, anybody, a partner. But honestly, when you sit down and you face that man in the mirror and you take the time to just reflect, what do you do when you realize that it's been you that's stopping you from getting to the next level? Like, y'all, I think I'm starting to come to that realization for myself in so many different ways because my early 20s has been a beautiful mess, I will say. And that brings me to the name of this podcast, right? This is going to be called I'm Too Perfect to Make Progress for this episode. So, y'all, I remember always kind of growing up and stuff like that and being a really big procrastinator and being somebody that I think I just procrastinate because I'm really good at getting amazing work done like last minute. I don't always really feel the need to kind of drag something out or kind of keep at it. And with that, I've realized comes issues with consistency. And most of the time, I've always thought that it was just like, of course, it's going to be a long period of time. If you want a successful career of like 20 years or you want to get to this certain goal, you want to do whatever you do, you will be consistent within getting to that goal. But I've been learning that consistency plays a big part when you're looking for goals longer than a few months or longer than, just this right now, just by the age of 21 or by the age of 25, And when you're a person that has long had issues with procrastination and kind of being rewarded for not necessarily having to do something over a long period. Like, I'm kind of talking to the kids that were in school, and y'all, you would probably get some work finished by the night before and you turn it in and you get an A. Like, that really set up a complex for me of not feeling like I had to work for too long for anything, because, not even being funny, I think sometimes when you're very used to being told that you're doing great without having to put in, I won't say as much effort, but what I will say is kind of when your effort is on a different level than a lot of other people's. Like, my not good enough could be somebody else's, damn, that was amazing, And that for me is, of course, it's great to always strive for greatness, but if you're going to be a person that's going to shoot yourself down all the time when things aren't perfect, then you're going to have issues. Like, there's no way around it, right? So I'm trying to learn how to not stand in my own way by not only being able to not necessarily release works or do things that are subpar or something like that, but just not be so nitpicking and so much of a perfectionist that I never put anything out or never do anything, right? Because when you are somebody who has been in gifted programs and different stuff like that, then you realize that you're always super, super competitive, and it's so great to be super competitive. But at the end of the day, it's the mundane that gets things accomplished a lot of the time. Things aren't always going to be to the best standard ever, right? So I've seen, and I'm going to refer to another creator, Gary Vee. I've seen videos where Gary Vee said he was basically like a D student, but look at the levels of success that he has reached now. All because most of the time, somebody that performs lower, or somebody that basically doesn't take themselves too serious, they're just willing to put in the work, just do the small steps, can sometimes succeed way beyond somebody who is absolutely always trying to be perfect and taking themselves too serious, or holding themselves back by saying, it's not ready, it's not ready, it's not ready, it's not ready. And I've always been a firm believer that when it's your time, it's your time. And if God is going to give it to you, like, nobody could take it away from you and different stuff like that. But sometimes you need to strike while the iron is hot, to say the least. So I've been definitely getting on myself about that lately. And I will say that I'm doing better with it. I'm realizing that overall, I've had times in the past where I was known for like various different reasons, and I've gotten all of the attention, both positive and negative, from it. And in recent years, I've been running from certain levels of attention, or trying to avoid it, and kind of procrastinating because my anxiety was just eating me up about it, right? Because I don't know, it's just a little bit, it's easier to be known for just doing things opposed to trying to build a brand and build an image and be able to say, I would like to be recognized for this, and that one thing be, something of substance, opposed to just like clowning or trolling on Twitter, you know? But also another big thing is a lack of resources. Now, I have always kind of been able to do the most with a little, both when I wanted to or had no choice but to do the most with a little. And what I will tell people is that that's also a way that you can hold yourself back by saying, oh, I don't have this yet, I don't have that yet, I don't, like, you want to be a content creator, but you're waiting to buy the cameras. You want to do this and that, but you're waiting to buy like all of the most expensive equipment and stuff like that. And using myself as an example, I will say, y'all, I have bought the cameras, and then in the midst of what I was going through in life, I've still ended up using my phone to put out content, and still getting views, still getting praises, still getting the what is it called? The interactions or whatever, So at the end of the day, don't let your anxiety or like fear of what will happen or different stuff like that, or a lack of resources, stop you from putting things out. Because at the end of the day, I have bought all the equipment and ended up just using my phone and gotten great reactions off of just using my phone. I'm no longer really trying to be absolutely perfect. I still would want to do things that are of quality, because for the most part, I just have never believed in attaching my name to anything that is just so shitty. Like, I have a hard time with that. I just can't do it. But I'm realizing that because I always had such a high standard for myself or work that I put out, I'm not realizing when things, just because they're not the highest quality, doesn't mean that they're shitty. It just means that I'm taking the time to grow. I'm facing whatever circumstances or lack of resources right now, and it just is what it is. But the fact that the calling is on my heart and it was placed in my mind, it was kind of set out on a path for me, and I'm choosing to do it. Nobody really gives a damn that it's not on a high-tech HD camera. Nobody really gives a damn that it's not on a high-tech microphone, or, like just in whatever area, different stuff like that. And the best thing that I can say with me coming to that realization is realizing that if you just learn to build a system for yourself and try to stick to that system as best as you can, once you build the system, it's like habits. I believe they say it takes 21 days or 30 days to build a habit, whether it be good or bad. So when you start building a habit, and I'm going to use the example, this could apply to anything. I'm going to use the example of content creation. If you start building the habit of like, okay, I will record on this day, or okay, I'll make sure that I'll do this, I'll do that. I won't compare myself to other people and be like, well, it's not good enough, so it's not like da 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 da. I like to say a lot of times you can look up and be inspired by people, but do not carbon copy them. And my system that I've come to learn and I've had to try my best to do because of all of my being displaced and just having my life be so chaotic, now I've built a system to where I could literally do things from wherever, whenever. And that is a blessing to me. So the best thing that I will say for people that have that issue with feeling like it's not good enough or feeling like it's not of the highest quality or just kind of like it's not up to your standards, take a deep breath. Let's do it with me real quick, right? And say, okay, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to put it out anyway. I'm going to allow myself to be seen trying. And if it's not perfect right now, it just is what it is. Whether there is a negative comment that comes or it's inevitable, but for the most part, I never really get negative comments. I guess I'm just not popular enough yet. But because I used to get them back in the day, but you know, like nobody's hating on you when you're kind of more small scale. When things are larger scale, they feel a little more comfortable because it's less personal. Like it's less like, you know, people never really are super rude to you to your face. It's just like social media just gives people different energy and different courage, right? But for the most part, I'm starting to learn that it's better to be seen trying and getting better and growing and the quality of things getting better than to not do it at all and miss your opportunity, not get the chance. Like you already have the network, you have the people around you, and you're just letting it all pass you by because you're like, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet. And meanwhile, everybody's like, no, you're ready. Or God's putting it on your heart and your ancestors or whoever is putting it on your heart and saying, you're ready, go for it. Strike while the iron is hot. But because you want to be perfect, because you lack the resources, because you're not believing in yourself firmly enough, you're going to let the opportunity pass you by. Don't let it pass you by. And that brings me to one of my bullet points. Are you afraid of success? Like, I've had to ask myself, or maybe somebody said something to me that triggered me to write that down the other day. But it's easy to say we want this, we want that, we're working hard, we would do this with the money if we had it. It's like, if I could just meet this person, or if I could just be in this room, if I could just go to this place, then my life would change forever. But what about when you sit with yourself and you reflect and you realize, like, maybe I'm standing in my own way because I'm afraid of what I think success will be. And I've seen and listened to a lot of different things to where basically a lot of us build different opinions about different things during our childhood, early adulthood, different stuff like that. But what do you do when you realize that it's hard to acquire money because money is an energy and you have self-limiting beliefs and you believe that money is evil? You believe that people only need to do evil things to get money. You believe it's by any means necessary. You believe that people have to sell their soul or they have to be in certain dark rooms and environments and lacking of morals and empathy just to get to a certain standpoint in life. What happens when you believe that there are no ethical millionaires or billionaires? Because there are many people that can just use brain power and invest in some technology and they become a billionaire off of technology or different things like that. Like there's always avenues, you know? It's not always the street option. It's not always the getting over on people. It's not always the having to compromise your morality, your standards, your empathy, you know? Are you afraid of success? Do you fear what money will do to you because you, to an extent, know who you have been at your lowest moments, or who you are at your core, or you haven't engaged that dark side? Because it's yin and yang. Good cannot exist without bad, and bad cannot exist without good. And there are a lot of things that are just perception. To one, it's good. To the next, it's bad. Some stuff genuinely, yes, it's evil. And some stuff genuinely, it's not even a question. Like, it's like a why on earth would anybody do that? Because it's so wicked. But some stuff is just perception. So at the end of the day, I've had to talk to myself, talk to others, and realize sometimes you have a self-limiting belief. Sometimes it's like a survivor's remorse, or a wanting to still be connected to, we'll put it like this, like the hood that you're from. Not wanting to level up, or stopping yourself from leveling up because you're trying so badly to hold on to who you were, and you're not thinking about who you want to be or who you are currently. I am not the Jahne'a that I was 5 years ago, by any means. 10 years ago, by any means. Every person that I was at a different age, or in a different environment, or around different people, that is exactly who I needed to be in that moment, to survive that moment, to live out that moment. But that is not who I am in my entirety. Release who you were when you had to survive. If you're currently still surviving, forgive yourself for what you've had to do up to this point, what you feel like you have to do, or anything like that. But that is not who you are in your entirety. And it's okay. Forgive yourself. It's okay. And everything that goes around comes around. If you're awaiting your karma, it is what it is, baby. You're going to have to take your lick like the rest of us. But at the end of the day, forgive yourself for who you were and who you had to be, so that you could become who you need to be. Don't feel like you're not deserving of success because of what you have been through, because of where you have came from, because of what you have had to do to survive. You still deserve success. But one thing I will tell you before you get it, you need to engage those dark shadows. You need to engage those demons. You need to figure out what is it that truly makes you want it. Why do you want so much money? Why do you want so much access? Why do you want so much attention? What is it that you're trying to reach? And I feel like that is when people get to certain points of having all this access, having all this attention, having all this money, and they do wicked things because they were already a wicked person. They wanted all of that so that they could become wicked on the highest level. They was wicked when they were poor. So they wanted to become wicked at the richest. And when I realized that all money is, all attention is, all access is an amplifier, you realize that an amplifier cannot beat down the neighborhood unless it's plugged in, unless it's in tune with something that was that source. So if you were already not evil, it cannot be amplified. Money cannot be an evil thing. What you choose to do to get your money, that is what will eat away at your conscience. What you choose to do to people on your way up the ladder, the same ladder that you have to climb up is the same ladder that you got to climb down, baby. Don't ever forget it. The same ladder that you have to climb up is the same ladder that you have to climb down. So I've seen it. I've seen many of people believe by any means necessary. Hell, I've been in the mindset too before. And I've had to pull myself out of those trenches, those mental trenches. So at the end of the day, attention, virality, fame is an amplifier. Money is an amplifier. If you do the inner work and you become who you need to be. You engage your dark shadows. You engage those traumas. You figure out who you are at your core. What are your motivations? What would you like to exemplify in your everyday life? What would you like to edify? Whatever God you serve, whatever cause you serve, what is it that means something at most to you? For some people, it's family. For some people, it's community. For some people, it's just themselves. And that's okay. We just have to figure out who we are at our core. But don't let those self-limiting beliefs, don't let those beliefs that have been around you in your environment, hearing auntie and mommy talk about how money is evil and people can't get rich without being evil, don't let that stop you from getting to where you need to go. Are you afraid of success? Because of what you've grown up hearing, because of what you've grown up seeing, because of what you've seen in the media. Are you afraid of success? Are you sabotaging yourself? Because you don't know what having money will do to you. You don't know what having attention will do to you. Or are you using those things to run away from issues that you didn't want to deal with? Ask yourself that question. So I've dealt with my things a little bit more publicly, just because I kind of felt comfortable. I feel like my mom has given me the strength. My ancestors have given me the strength. God has given me the strength to be able to do this on a public way to help whomever that I could. Others might not be able to do that, but hopefully it's doing the work that it can. How publicly I've been able to do mine. But it's messy. It's scary. Some days are really good and some days are really bad. But for the most part, when you do that digging and you figure out exactly who you are, guess what? You still have so many different versions of yourself to meet. So that is the beauty in it. That's also the chaos in it. But there's beauty in duality, y'all. And a big thing that I've had to tell myself, no matter how uncomfortable and messy things get, you cannot run away from your calling. If you have something that you feel like is itching away at you, like it's on your heart, it's in your spirit, it's in your mind, that's your calling. That is your calling. I've felt like this my entire life for the most part. Being able to be open about struggles, about joys, sadness, about what happened and things like that. And I never want to miss what my calling is because of my own anxiety, because of things that I've had in the past when I wasn't even in my calling. Me trolling on Twitter was not me moving in my calling. So of course I might get a little negativity here and there. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, what is your calling is your calling. And sometimes we are unhappy because we are running away from our calling. Plain and simple. I don't know what story it was in the Bible. I don't even remember. But basically somebody was like running away from his calling or something. And it's like he was going through hell because he wasn't where he was supposed to be. Somebody tell me if you can. I don't know. But yeah. Sometimes you're going through hell because you're running away from what you know you're supposed to be doing. Like when you're growing up and your parents telling you, you knew you're supposed to be doing better than that. Why are you acting like that? And sometimes we will see what others have. I feel like it's actually natural and normal to feel experiences of jealousy or envy or whatever. But it's how far you're willing to take it. You have to be able to stop yourself in your tracks and be like, nope, that's not my business. Nope, that's their blessing, not mine. And every blessing ain't necessarily a blessing because you don't know how that person got whatever they got. You don't know what they had to do. You don't know who they know. You don't know how long they've been fighting, what silent battles they've been going through. That is not meant for you. Wait your turn. Mind your business. And comparison truly is the thief of joy. What's meant for Susie ain't meant for Jahne'a. If I'm standing in my calling, what is supposed to come to me will come to me at the right time when God wants me to have it. Point blank, period. Plain and simple. I cannot take or wish away someone else's blessing or what appears to be a blessing because I don't know what they've been through. I don't know what they've done to get it. There are a lot of people winning materialistically. And on the spiritual front, on the mental front, they're dying. They're sick. But y'all see the purses, the cars, the money, the shoes, the flights, and y'all think, oh, they winning. That's what I got to get into. That's what I got to do. But if it's not your calling, it's not your calling, baby. Sometimes your calling can look like people laughing at you and you being, people being embarrassed of you because they're like, why the hell would you do that? Why would you tell people what you're going through? Why would you post that? Why would you be that? Why would you, carry yourself that way? It's not always meant to be what everybody else has going on. Sometimes you're meant to stand out like a sore thumb. Sometimes you're meant to be in a completely different realm than everybody else that you know, everybody else that you grew up with. Because you're meant for a different room. You're meant for a different crowd. So at the end of the day, if you're putting the work in, if you are standing in your calling, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then you will get 1% better every day. And that is all you need. I've always been a person that I am so good at running it up, giving something 115%. So people probably will be laughing at me. People probably will look at me like, what the fuck is wrong with her? People probably will say, oh my God, you don't have to work that hard. What is wrong with you? But I've just always known how to be full throttle. And sometimes full throttle isn't necessary. Sometimes literally all you need is 1%. Because that's how you run into burnout. And if you burnt out, then you have a hard time getting back onto what you're supposed to do. You have a hard time keeping momentum. But if you give your cause 1% every single day, 1% every single day, after 100 days, you've gone a lot further than you thought you were. A year ago today, I was living in my car. I'm currently sitting in my apartment. I'm further than I was a year ago today. I've learned more than I knew a year ago. I've met different people than I knew a year ago. So be willing to give things 1% every day, and you will get better. There's no way that if you are at least putting some effort into something, you can't get better. Now, I'm not saying half-ass stuff for real, because I have a hard time half-assing. I'm trying to learn how to even half-ass, and it's just, it'd be like, girl, do 115%, like, go your hardest. But I'm trying to learn how to stop being burned out, y'all. Oh my God. So if you're willing to try, you put that effort forth, you're willing to let people see you growing and messing things up and just trying, you don't even know where you'll get. Give it your best shot. What's so bad about it? You might get a little embarrassed. Okay. I think there are people that should be more embarrassed that they're not trying than people that want you to be embarrassed that you're seen trying and messing up and learning and getting back up and messing something else up and getting back up. A just man falls 7 times and rises 8. I can never let somebody's opinion of me stop me from walking in my calling, from rising back up. Because once you have hit rock bottom, there is nowhere to go but up. And at the end of the day, The day gotta end. Shout out Glorilla. So y'all, don't be too perfect to make progress. Don't stand in your own way anymore. Get up, get out, and do something. And be blessed. Talk to y'all later.